Tension in your upper back is so common when pregnant, and let's face it, also postpartum. And it could be from a few things. It could be you tend to be more of a rib thruster, so those ribs are pushing forward, so your back is actually in a more shortened, tightened state. Or maybe you're a bit of a collapser, your shoulders are caving in, you're a bit of a tail tucker. So all those muscles are in an over-lengthened state. They're still getting tight. So let's look at a few ways to help relieve that so that you feel better and that we can try to find a little bit more body balance. So I feel like one of my go-tos for almost every issue in the body is 360 breathing, but we're gonna do it again, 360 breathing. So we think about the 360 degrees of the rib cage. Now, a lot of people can access the front body really well, but not necessarily the side and back ribs. So when those back ribs are tight, and I could do hours on the back ribs. When the back ribs are tight, it can really affect our breathing, the pelvic floor, the tension in your back. So today we're going to focus on the tension in your back and opening those back ribs with 360 breathing. So start by just bringing your hands to your ribs. I guess we should really start with noticing your pelvis, because I just noticed myself as a bit of an anterior tip. So just notice where your pelvis is. So if we're going to start from the base and work up, we're nicely stacked. So are you tucking the tail? Are you spilling forward? Are you sitting on padding? So make sure that your pelvis is nicely stacked and balanced. And then we get to the ribs. Are they thrusting forward? Are they tucking under? Balance your ribs. And then bring your hands onto your side ribs. And notice if you're more of a chest breather, can you bring your breath into your hands? Good. And now think about someone that you love and trust having their hands at your bottom ribs, and you're breathing out into their hands and your side ribs. So especially if that is a very sticky, tight place, we're sending breath into your back and side ribs. And the great thing about 360 breathing, you don't have to roll a yoga mat out. You don't really even have to pull time out of your day for it. You could be sitting at your desk and just taking a 5-breath break, working on opening your side and back ribs. And just notice, especially if you're sitting at a desk, how that feels for your upper back. So I'm getting that 360 breathing. How else can we work with the upper back? Twisting. Now when you're pregnant, we don't want to twist deep in the belly. So think about twisting just the rib cage. So baby would stay pointing forward. So sweep your one hand behind you, it doesn't matter which. Take the opposite hand to the side of the belly. Get tall, again, not by thrusting your ribs forward, but by lifting through the crown of the head. And as you exhale, twist your upper body. Good. Do that again. Ground your sit bones, lift through the crown of the head. Inhale. Exhale, twist your upper body. Good. Come back to center. Just feel how your body feels. And then bring the opposite arm behind you. I'm just pressing it into the floor for support. Take your hand to the side of the belly. Inhale, get tall. Keep baby pointing forward. Twist your upper spine. One more time like that. Ground your sit bones, lift tall. Inhale. Exhale, twist your upper spine. Oh, it feels so good. All right, let's keep adding on. Start to bring your arms out. Now, as you bring your arms up, we want to stop when you notice your ribs pushing forward. So melt the shoulder blades down and then press the sit bones down. Just get a little bit taller and taller and taller through your spine. And then drop one hand down. And now start to take a side bend. And what I love about this is you can even bring a hand to your side ribs and breathe into those side ribs. And then once you have that impression, you can reach a little further, but keep rooting this hip down. Good. And then in a moment, we're gonna take this on all fours. Good. Come back to center. So I'm grounding my thigh bone, root the hip, reach the arm out, start with the arm up overhead. This shoulder is going to want to hike up, soften the shoulder down. Good, and as we start the reach, take your hand to your side ribs. Breathe into those side ribs. Have that impression. Keep the shoulder dropped. And then as your hip roots down, open away. So maybe you feel the lower waist into the side ribs, all the way through your fingers. Nice. All right, now let's take this on all fours. We're going to get into a little side body stretch while lengthening, and then we'll finish with a little bit of upper back strengthening. So yes, we're stretching, we're opening, but let's also look if those muscles are over lengthened. We want to get a little strength and support there. All right, so let's venture onto all fours. If you want to have a blanket underneath your knees, do so. Otherwise, you can move it out of the way. Good, now from here, knees are what I call baby distance wide if you're pregnant, and then reach your arms out, and I'm being really active here. I'm extending my arms forward, at the same time I'm pulling my hips back. Feels great for the whole spine of my body. And then I'll walk my hands to the side. I'm tenting my fingers, and I'm imagining that I have a yoga assistant with me, and they have hold of my left hip, and they're pulling my left hip back as I reach my left arm out. Good. And then coming back to center. Now the imaginary yoga assistant is holding my right hip. So I'll start by finding length and then going to the side, and I'm pulling back with that imaginary assistant, pulling that hip a little further back. Nice. All right, now the last thing I want to tackle for the upper back right now, I'm using a block between the thighs because honestly, let's get a little adductor strengthening in here. So this is a scapula push-up. It's different than cat-cow because I'm not trying to move my spine, and I'm trying as best I can to keep my head very much on my spine. So my head, ribs, pelvis are trying to stay pretty in line. And the movement comes from my chest softening down, and then as I exhale, pressing up. It's really subtle. So I'm thinking that my shoulder blades are coming together. Inhale, and as I exhale, I'm pressing into the floor, widening my shoulder blades. Scapula, those are your shoulder blades, scapula push-ups. Exhale, press into the floor, widen the shoulders. Inhale, shoulder blades towards one another. Exhale, push into the floor, widen the shoulder blades. Some people call them serratus push-ups because the muscles that wrap around the rib cage, serratus, are also getting strengthened here. All right, so there we have it. We've got a couple ways to release tension in the upper back. We got a little twist, a little stretch, and then a little strengthening. Enjoy.